Excellent. So, hi everybody, I'm Loren Chamberlain. So, I'm the Senior Product Manager for the Climate Resilience Demonstrator Project. I'm sure you already know it, CReDo. I'm going to give a high-level update today that will hopefully whet your appetite for our upcoming conference in just a couple of weeks' time. So first, I want to start with a bit of a recap of why we need a UK climate resilience demonstrator and why this is important. So some people have looked into this question already, both across both a UK cross-house, cross-party, which is the Joint Committee on National Security Strategy, and the Climate Change Committee, which is a UK statutory body who advises government on their climate action. And they've both found that critical national infrastructure, which we know is critical to the smooth running of economy and society, is highly interdependent and that failures can cascade across sectors. And the areas where the worst risk management or the least quality adaptation plans exists is in the area of infrastructure interdependencies. So something needs to be done to drive improvements. Now, if we consider the problem being investigated specifically by CReDo, the energy network, for instance, has many interconnected nodes. So plant in, for instance, the water network for pumping water and sewage depends on power provided by the energy network, as does our communication networks. Conversely, the power and water networks need communication internally with other adjacent systems and networks. On their own, therefore, as shown in the schematic, how the interconnected assets are affected in extreme weather scenarios is unclear, and the network effects are hidden. You can only see that one network. Therefore, we need a systems view. So CReDo helps with this. CReDo is a connected digital twin for the climate adaptation of critical national infrastructure. And so we create a systems view through our partnerships with Anglian Water, BT and Openreach, and UK Power Networks, and create a cross-sector connected network of some of their most important assets. And then we force that network with flooding scenarios to see what assets fail. And this gives us new understanding of which assets fail in different extreme weather scenarios. And crucially, when assets are interdependent, so that one failure in one sector could cascade and cause failures across sector boundaries, and then have wider impacts across the network as a result. And this is important as it allows us to utilize a systems of systems viewpoint to build, renew, and adapt infrastructure for more resilient and holistic networks. Now, the partnerships which will make the system view work are only possible through collaboration and the sharing of expertise and data. And CPC have taken on the phase 2 leadership of the CReDo project from the Centre for Digital Built Britain in April 2022. And convening the market and fostering collaboration is something that the Catapult specialises in. For those not familiar with the Catapults, the Catapult is part of a network of technology and innovation centres across the UK, which focus on 9 high-growth sectors, which are a priority for the UK. And we're dubbed what's known as an innovation accelerator, with our particular focus being transport and places. And as part of our work, we regularly run demonstrators that showcase cutting-edge new technology to policymakers and in new sectors where they might be unfamiliar with particular technology. And we also develop research with partners that will accelerate the commercialization of new technology. This focuses on areas that the market would find tricky to implement itself because it's either difficult or risky. So along this same path, the DT Hub, which is also now part of CPC, is championing thought leadership around connected digital twins, their use cases, and helping to investigate and address challenges faced in their implementation. This includes supporting standardization of legal agreements and testing different approaches to data sharing across sectors, alongside providing this network within the DT Hub for practitioners to share best practice and to collaborate. For CReDo, our ultimate goal is therefore to slowly and in a managed way begin to transition the product back more into the market with stakeholders able to take a greater share in its ongoing development and direction. But first, what are we doing in phase 2 to enable this? Well, our mission statement in phase 2 was to build upon the great work implemented in phase 1 by the consortium led by the Centre for Digital Built Britain, as part of the National Digital Twin Programme. And we are taking that proof of concept that was developed and building a working prototype where asset owners will get their first systems view of the cross-sector network with real asset data. Where CReDo is ready to expand to new asset owners and wider geographies, enabling network effect benefits as the participation in the system grows. So we're doing this in several ways. One, we're moving to a distributed architecture that builds trust, allows asset owners to retain control of their own data in their own environments. Two, we're sharing system-level viewpoints with asset owners on a need-to-know basis, so that what they see is controlled by the conditions of their data sharing agreements. We're being flexible, so the system can easily be expanded to new asset owners and data types. Four, we're promoting interoperability with continued collaboration with other digital twin projects and emerging new data ontologies. And finally, probably the most important, we're unlocking the strategic planning use case so that asset owners have insights available to them to make smarter investments where the overall system climate change resilience can benefit the most. So what are the benefits of doing this? What impact are we having? Well, we're opening the door to brand new resilience planning opportunities, such as the ability for one asset owner to invest in another's infrastructure, because CReDo has shown that it gives the most resilience benefits to do so. And customers benefit too. Less failures mean more network availability and services, and also lower repair costs, reduced bills, and avoiding costs being passed on to customers. Finally, through the Catapult and DT Hub's convening of the market, we're accelerating private and public sector collaboration on connected digital twins, and hopefully making progress on the UK government's climate adaptation priorities. So if you'd like to have learn a bit more or have a play with the system yourself, as a reminder, there's also a demonstration visualization available on the DT Hub website. And we have, as I plugged at the start, a conference coming up in 2 weeks' time in the normal sort of slot for the Gemini Call, but at a slightly different time. Please come along. We'd love you to be there. So that's the 7th of March from 10 till 12, and it's an online event. The registration for the event's live, and you can find it on the Community Insight banner on the homepage of the DT Hub website, or I think my colleagues will post a link to the event in the chat. And so a shameless sort of hook and tease for what we'll be presenting at the conference and webinar on the 7th. So the event's hosted by the DT Hub's own Simon Evans. So hopefully this familiar face will ease the pain slightly of us eclipsing the normal Gemini Call slot. Sarah and I will then introduce the CReDo story so far, highlight some of the challenges we found after phase 1, and set the scene for the following presenters to tell you a bit more about the solutions. Next up, Sarah Snelson and Elliot Christou from CPC. So that's Sarah Snelson from Frontier Economics and Elliot from CPC will talk through the work that's been done on incorporating economic insights into the system, and then using this information to explore the benefits of using a connected digital twin compared with a siloed single network view of infrastructure. This is then followed by Jethro Ackroyd from Computational Modelling Cambridge, who would present a deep dive into the technology implemented in phase 2 and why we think a distributed architecture is key for the success of our use case. Next, we then have a really exciting industry panel where the audience can ask questions from a range of experts and asset owners. This panel includes Alex Winchester from Master Infrastructure, Nigel Watson from Northumbrian Water, and Jim Hall from the National Infrastructure Commission, Climate Change Committee, and Oxford University. And last but not least, we're also joined in that panel with the beating heart of the CReDo collaboration, which is the existing asset owners. So that's Matt Webb from UK Power Networks, Tom Bergline from Anglian Water, and Louise Krug from representing BT and Openreach. Next, Chris Jones will then give a quick run through of the next steps for CReDo, and we'll conclude the main webinar with a Q&A with the CReDo team, where you can also ask us lots of questions. And then the event finishes off with a summary from Elaine Coleman, who's the Director for Applied Data and Technology. So that's all I wanted to share today. We really hope the event will be both informative and catalyse new innovation in the world of connected digital twins. We hope to see you there, and I understand that I will be able to take questions in Slido and later on in the call.